It's it's Thursday, March 13th, and this is the first day of the shore excursions on the upriver Amazon side of the Amazon River trip, as a greater part of the Grand South America trip. So yesterday we started up the Amazon River from the Atlantic coast, and we're about 450 miles. We're about 600 miles upriver in a city now this morning called Santarem, Santarem, and about 450 miles downriver from our eventual furthest penetration on the Amazon on this trip of Manaus, Manaus, which is the big city up in here. So today what we're doing is we're going off to our first shore excursion, and that's a trip on to a place called Belterra, which is a town that was established by Henry Ford. Actually, one of two towns established by Henry Ford in the late 30s in an attempt to create a source of rubber for tires for the Ford vehicles. Eventually, during World War II, synthetic rubber was refined and made obsolete the natural rubber tires, and eventually Ford, who had invested $20 million in this venture to make this rubber plantations in Brazil, he had $20 million invested, and he sold it back to the Brazilian government for $250,000 in 1945 and shut the door on it. So anyway, what we're going to do today is go to one of two of these. There was one called Fordlandia, which was a giant plantation that failed. That's further from where we are today in Santarem. And the one we're going to is this Belterra, which was a second attempt to make this venture work by Ford that's a little bit closer into Santarem, and we'll be able to see that. And then this afternoon, what we're going to do is come back and take a city tour and get our first exposure to the area. We're in Santarem and tendering in. So we got about 50 people on this tender boat. That's how we're getting to shore, because obviously you can't park close to shore in the river. We've reached Belterra, this Henry Ford attempt to get a rubber plantation to feed the requirements for the tires for his vehicles. And it's been raining, and there are lots of mangoes on the ground, and they're all crawling with maggots and flies. And so we're looking at this and thinking that having the fly net on over the head is probably. Let's try to get back on it. It lost me. It's having a hard time finding my face with this net on. Let's try that and let's see.
Belterra city, and as you can see on the ground, a lot of mango fruits. It's typical, mainly nowadays in the rain season. This is the mango tree. And follow me.
It's muddy, and
my friends,
lots of fruit flies.
All
and
those
other
trees
types.
here, with the exception of the mango tree, are rubber trees. Here is the rubber tree plantation in this area. Let's go.
This looks like some American-style construction over here. This house in the distance. This building we're in is a hospital for the village. And now it's a museum.
And this is the beach nearby. This picture here showing a beach nearby, Kingdom Bound. And these boats Yes, for the transportation of lapis.
This is the house of the doctors that we just were in. Contains administrative offices and toilets nowadays, and the museum. And then this is the surrounding area. Psst.
1930.
In Ford's zeal for this to be the American style city,
Probably. I don't know.
they installed American style infrastructure,
Ladies and
including
gentlemen, as you can see, this
water
fire
tower
hydrant
and
here,
this fire
showing the
hydrant.
Michigan. Now, let's go, follow me, cross the street.
We're headed for house number 1, the first house built in this city. Land was acquired, I believe, in 1931 after they'd had the first city, the one Fordlandia, had endured riots by the workers who were ill
If you want to take a picture
inclined
here,
to obey Ford's
Go ahead.
really stringent work rules.
I'm going to explain for everyone now.
And
Welcome
so
to the Amazon rainforest.
They built this second
Be
city.
careful, that was slippery for me. I'm just saying,
Yeah,
I
take care.
could have.
This house was built for Henry Ford, but he never came here.
In the Belterra, part of the past, and was built by the Henry Ford living inside it. And the politicians around it too, like that, for example. And take a look, the architecture is a difference. In Brazil, it's more common in your country, US. A beautiful garden around it.
Now we've left the house number 1 and are headed back to the bus to go visit the main square. So you can see that there's these typical surroundings here with these mango trees, rubber trees, lawn. That's not really lawn, it's just grass that's growing. And company town, Ford Company Town, a la Dearborn, Michigan. Explained that this is a courthouse, in the past a doctor's base, so something to do with the medical facilities here. And it's similar to the one we were in over at the museum. Very similar. Clapboard construction. Looks Middle American.
Okay, follow me.
Also looks a little bit Aussie, like these Aussie buildings with the big covered porches. We're in a
Welcome to the courthouse, the
Courthouse.
Santarem. And as you can see, this now is pictures nowadays. And as I told you, Belterra in Santarem lived by the agriculture and the tourism, mainly because we have thousands of miles with white sands like this. Santarem and Belterra nearby. And here the tourists can rent a boat and traveling and visit these desert white sand beaches like this. Ponta do Jaguari, Ponta de São Domingos. It's beautiful, it's amazing. And enjoy all the day in the morning, drink a lot of beer, snacks, and enjoy this paradise.
Now we're in the town square. There's a big athletic field. Look at these lawnmowers. It's really Western, really American feel to it. It's like middle, just sort of small town America. Very interesting. This was at the time regarded as a social engineering project by Ford. He had very definite ideas about how people should live, and he tried to enforce a very rigid code of conduct and set of work rules, etc., on the people here, and it didn't go down well, and it never succeeded. Here's the church. Looks, I think that's Franciscan, if I'm not mistaken, or Jesuit. I think Franciscan, that brown robe. Could be in any small town in the middle of the United States here, except for the fact that it's cooler here, at the moment at least, than it would be in a lot of those places. I'm certain that that's not the normal state. It's cool because it's rained recently. There's evidence by the water on the ground. I mean, it's like they've got ball fields, playgrounds, all the trimmings of Middle America. Very, very interesting.
And this statue here showing the rebel soldier. The typical uniform, using a straw hat, and it is clothes, and it is in the basket or vessel with full of latex. And every day collected latex into the forest, and behind of you, take a look at that building over there. The building was the factory that produced rubber in this region. And the rubber soldiers brought full of latex until that building over there. Batista is a kind of Catholic group in Brazil, Batista, the name of Batista. And this is one of them, okay? If you want to enjoy this moment for your record or take a pictures, go ahead, okay? And soon we are going to visit the church. Okay. And this statue here is the Saint Antonio. And he is the patron of this church.
So he's Big Tony.
Yeah, he's not Big Tony.
He's the Big Tony, not you.
Bigger Tony.
You're little Tony. He's the
A
big
junior.
Tony. Junior Tony.
In Portuguese, in Brazil specifically, there is a ceremony about Antonio, Saint Antonio. When the population wants to have a wedding, yeah, they, how can I say in English? Pray for Saint Antonio, blessing for their wedding. Okay, and we say that Santo Antonio is the Santo Casamenteiro, or is wedding saint in Portuguese. The location is on other side of this square. Okay, this is the first square here. And this is a typical house on that side. Here, this signing, writing Portuguese, showing historic patrimonial, the architecture of Belterra was founded in 1943, and the first building was with woods. In the year of the 1945 was totally fallen, and came for the building church.
This is the church in Belterra, which was built after the Ford Company era, and was from circa 1945, after Ford Company pulled up stakes and left, at which time these folks were free to build a Catholic church. It's got a wooden roof, not much decoration, it's not rich. It's a fundamental construction. Tile floor, ceramic tile floor, choir. No extraordinary decoration of any kind. The trip inside the church concludes the tour of Belterra. And at this point now we're heading back to the bus to get going back to the port and pick up our afternoon tour, which is Santarem highlights. As usual, and that is in this case, next to the last one out. She wasn't the last one, but next to the last.